At Marlins Park in Miami, Florida, Pix 11 presents New York Mets baseball. Tonight, the Mets play the Miami Marlins. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Toyota. The national clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By McDonald's, stop by for a juicy quarter pounder with cheese at participating McDonald's. By Mattress Firm, where your budget stretches further. By America's Best, it's not just a better deal, it's America's Best, celebrating 40 years of affordable eye care. By Spectrum, TV the way you want it, more HD, more on demand. Get it now at Spectrum.com. And by Mazda, feel alive. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Miami. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets play the middle game of their series against the Marlins. The Mets are a .500 team since July the 1st, and the starting pitching has gotten much of the attention, particularly Jacob deGrom and Zach Wheeler. But of late, the bullpen has begun to do its share as the Mets try to figure out who fits for next year.
Well, this is the product of how this season has transformed for the Mets, and they've got a lot of young guys here acquired by trade, as well as coming up through the minor league system. They are a part of this future, and with the Mets sitting here out of the race, they are getting a very, very strong look for next season.
Well, another piece of the Mets' future, Corey Oswalt goes to the mound tonight. He's pitched well enough that Mickey Callaway is considering going to a six-man rotation.
Well, had his first major league start right here in late June. That didn't fare well, but 5 starts after that, he has pitched very credibly, and he is in the rotation, and he is also getting a very, very strong look from the Met management.
Meanwhile, Dan Straley goes for the Marlins. He's pitched very well against the Mets since he landed here in Miami last year.
Second year with the Marlins. 2 years ago, won 14 games with the Reds. He's 4-5 this year. This has been a disappointing year for the Marlins, and not a year of great expectations.
So it's the Mets and the Marlins. Mets can't make it 2 straight in Miami. All the action coming your way tonight on Pix 11. Stats, roster updates, and more. RBI Baseball 18 is available now. Learn more at RBIGame.com. Rated E for everyone. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Chase. Make more of what's yours. Coca-Cola value pack starting at just $15 per ticket is a great way to enjoy a Mets game at Citi Field. Your Coca-Cola value pack includes a Mets game ticket, a Nathan's Famous hot dog, and a Coca-Cola soft drink. Purchase your Coca-Cola value pack starting at just $15 today at Mets.com/value pack. Themes of the game brought to you by Land Rover, Above and Beyond.
Well, Gary and I were talking about cartoons last night. Well, we got Mighty Mouse, leadoff hitters for Oswalt. He's been fantastic his last 5 starts. Conforto on the road has been getting on base at almost a 400 clip. And Dan Straley, which I should have mentioned in the open, is pitched well against the Mets as a Marlin. How about that?
Did you mention the sound in the background? It's Ricochet Rabbit to go with Mighty Mouse, Roadrunner, and Popeye. Listen.
God.
Bing, bing, bing.
You guys in the truck are very sick.
And Deputy Droop along. Mets and Marlins first pitch coming right up. Nationals at 7:10. All fans in attendance will receive a Mets t-shirt courtesy of Taiwan Tourism. Purchase tickets at Mets.com/tickets. Mets lineup brought to you by the New York Lottery. Win anywhere, win anytime. Jose Bautista back in right field today. Austin Jackson has been raging hot, sits down. Brandon Nimmo plays center field. Otherwise, the Mets going with the same group that's been out there most days of late. A lot of Met fans have found their way into the house tonight to watch their team try to make it 2 straight over the Marlins as the Mets take on the veteran Dan Straley.
Well, 4-5 on the year. ERA slightly over 4. His 19th start, stayed healthy. It's hard to get a winning record when you're playing for a last place team. And then we'll go to your defense, your Marlin defense, brought to you by your Tri-State GMC dealers. Martin Prado back from injury, hamstring issues all year long for him. Dietrich, as we mentioned last night with the trade of Justin Bour to the Phillies, is going to get the lion's share of play at first base. And in the Marlin outfield, Brian Anderson, a very strong candidate for Rookie of the Year, followed by Mr. Sierra in center and Mr. Ortega in left.
Mets scored 6 runs last night, 8 in their previous game against the Reds. They didn't hit a home run in either one of those games. In fact, the Mets have gone 3 straight games without hitting a home run, and they've been generating plenty of offense without. Ahmed Rosario had a big night last night, and he is set to lead off against Straley, who comes off a really good start against the Phillies in some respects, in that he allowed just 1 hit in 5 1/3, but walked 5 and wound up with a no decision in that game. Straley's walks are way up this year, 4.5 walks per 9 innings this year, and that is not his formula for success. He's a guy who has trouble going deep into games anyway, and when he walks people, that really stifles his ability to be effective. However, the Mets have seen him at his best. 6 lifetime starts against the Mets, 3.21. 5 lifetime starts as a Marlin against the Mets, 2.22 ERA. Rosario steps in. First pitch of the night is inside, ball 1, and we're underway. Rosario 3 for 5 last night, drove in a pair of runs. And you can hear the Met fans in loud voice as Rosario takes outside and Straley falls behind 2-0.
They're here. Straley has also given up a lot of home runs this year. 17 home runs in 93 innings pitched.
Rosario fouls off his fastball, 2-1. You got 2 pitchers tonight in Straley and Oswalt who have very similar stuff. Neither one is going to blow you away. Both top out around 91 miles an hour. Straley, a guy who has been an underdog his entire life, but has made his way to 41 big league victories. And he gets Rosario to chase the slider off the plate. It's 2-2. Straley was a guy who was cut from his high school baseball team. Grew up in Oregon, dreamed of playing for Oregon State, couldn't get them to bite. Wound up going all the way across the country to play at Marshall, which was the only D1 team that allowed him to walk on. Lined over second and caught by Castro for the first out. Nice leaping grab by Castro to retire Rosario for the first out of the night.
Well, Castro, who had a little bit of a tough time last night in the field, a couple balls felt he should have got to, makes a nice play there on that line drive.
So 1 out and nobody on. That Jeff McNeil. McNeil 1 for 5 last night. He continues to get everyday playing time at second base. Now his 13th big league start. And they put the full shift on against him as he takes the fastball for a strike.
I wonder how it feels to be a young player to come up in the big leagues in your 14th game, and they've already got the shift on for you.
Well, it means that they've charted him quickly, and most of his ground balls have gone to the right side. After 2 strikes, they swap the third baseman and shortstop. Prado moves over to the right side, and Rojas back to the left. Straley ahead 0-2 on McNeil with Wilmer Flores on deck. And McNeil fouls back the fastball.
And you notice the high target right there from Realmuto behind the plate. I mentioned earlier what little I've seen of McNeil, and I've seen enough now. He's a low ball hitter, and they're starting to pitch him upstairs, it looks like.
Change up off the plate, and it's 1-2.
Has a good eye at the plate, has a good knowledge of the strike zone, doesn't chase at a lot of bad balls.
And McNeil wraps one to the left side. Rojas with a neat pickup on the backhand and throws him out. Well, McNeil shooting for the open part of the infield, but Rojas makes a terrific play to get him for the second out.
Well, this ball's hit hard. Good hitting, good 2-strike hitting. They wanted the breaking ball down and in, kind of laid up a little bit on the outer half of the plate. He went right with it. I like to see that. Just a real nice play by Rojas. Nice backhand. Great agility coming off the ground. The strong throw.
So 2 balls hit fairly hard, both resulting in outs to start the opening inning. And now Wilmer Flores, who had 2 hits last night. And Wilmer takes off the corner for ball 1. Wilmer hitting .333 in 11 games in the month of August at .273 for the year, and he takes up and away 2-0. Wilmer had a couple of 3-hit games earlier in the week. In fact, the Mets have had 9 players with 3 or 4 hit games in their last 6 games. And Wilmer cuts and misses at a fastball, 2-1.
Boy, 2-1 fastball, 2-0 fastball. Bitters count. I threw that. Put a little something extra on it. Got it by Wilmer. And he takes a call strike with a fastball, and it's 2-2.
First time the Mets saw Straley this year back in May. He held them to 1 run and 4 hits over 6 innings. Second time, 3 runs and 5 hits over 7 innings. So he's been good. And he strikes out Flores with the slider. So Straley has himself a 1-2-3 opening inning, capped by a strikeout. Corey Oswalt goes to the mound when we come back. Marlins lineup brought to you by Bob's, online at mybobs.com. The Marlins have scored 3 runs or fewer in 8 straight games. So Don Mattingly moving some things around. He moves Rafael Ortega, who made his Marlins debut last night, up into the leadoff spot. Drops Magneuris Sierra to 8th. Puts Brian Anderson on a cleanup spot. And Corey Oswalt will get his 2nd crack at the Marlins.
Yes, his first major league start was against the Marlins here. He got roughed up, didn't get out of the 3rd inning, but he's been pitching very credibly since then.
So here's Rafael Ortega leading off. Takes a fastball for a strike. Ortega 1 for 4 last night in his Marlins debut. Previous big league time in Colorado and Anaheim. But we saw very quickly with Ortega what the Marlins are trying to accomplish. Trying to get more athletic, add some more speed. Got a big outfield here in Marlins Park. Ortega slugs one to deep right field. Back on the warning track goes Bautista, and he has enough room to make the catch. So Ortega, who has hit 1 big league home run, made a bid for a 2nd, but came up shy.
Needed to be at Wrigley Field with the wind blowing out, or Philadelphia. He just got under it a little bit. He was on that ball. That's 392 right there. You see the fence line. It's a long poke.
So 1 long out for Corey Oswalt, and now JT Realmuto. Realmuto has been scuffling. He had a double last night that snapped an 0 for 23 stretch. But still having a fine year. 290, 14 home runs. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Oswalt has been filling the strike zone. In fact, all the Mets starting pitchers have been. Last 12 games, Mets starters have walked a total of 11 batters. Slider fouled off, and it's 0-2.
Oh, you're right, Gary. He goes after the hitters. That's important. Doesn't walk a lot of people.
And Realmuto takes inside, 1-2. Well, his last start against the Braves, he gave up 3 runs and 8 hits. The home run ball hurt him. Remember, they sent him back out for the 7th inning for the first time, and Inciarte got him for a 2-run homer that erased his lead, but he pitched very well. And he gets him with a changeup. So Realmuto strikes out for the 2nd out. Nicely done by Oswalt, 2 away.
High changeup. Realmuto got a base hit last night. but he's been in the midst of a slump.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Starlin Castro moved up to the 3 spot tonight. He went 0 for 4 last night. Having his usual year, he's got 127 hits. That's 7th in the National League, hitting .282. Been a hit machine since he came to the big leagues with the Cubs, and he really hasn't changed a whole lot.
So he is not a guy that walks. He's a free swinger. He has an idea up there, though. Knows how to move the ball around.
Talk about not walking. This entire Marlins team, very low walk totals. In fact, they've drawn the fewest walks of any team in the National League. And Oswalt runs one inside, 2-1. Corey Oswalt, 24 years old, San Diego native. Mets got him in the 7th round of the 2012 draft. Tonight making his 7th major league start. Past the mound, McNeil playing up the middle, gets it on the backhand and throws out Castro, and that helps Corey Oswalt to a 1-2-3 opening inning. No score after 1. Michael 1 for 4 last night, drove in a run. Who's Hot brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Conforto's hot on the road. 24-game road on base streak for what that's worth.
Well, he's been getting his share of walks, but this has been, the Mets are looking for RBI production from him, and it just hasn't happened this year. It's been a tough slog for Michael.
He's tied for 10th in the National League with 61 walks, but that goes with 105 strikeouts and just 40 runs batted in, nearly 3/4 of the way through the season. By the way, the last longer road on base streak for the Mets, 25. Ike Davis, 2010.
Ike Davis.
Brandon Nimmo on deck, then Todd Frazier for the Mets in the 2nd against Straley, who got the side in order in the 1st, and he couldn't get Conforto to bite on the slider. 2-2. And Conforto goes down on a high fastball, and Straley has his 2nd strikeout of the night.
Boy, Gary, we have seen a sea change in pitching this year, with everybody going upstairs a lot, all the teams.
But you have to explain to me, Keith, as a hitter, okay? You've got so many hitters who are locked into this uppercut swing, which makes them better able to hit the lower pitch, which has gotten pitchers to work more upstairs, and in that case upstairs out of the strike zone. How come they can't lay off that pitch?
They've got to get in BP, Gary, and learn to take that pitch, not to swing at it, to discipline themselves. And I didn't like the pitch up and in. I love the pitch up out over the plate and up and away. I've always felt that that was a mistake by a pitcher, a pitch to really jump on. But up and in, I had to learn to take it, and I took it in BP.
I mean, but you've got hitters whose swings are grooved for something low, and how can he even think that he can hit that ball? Which is out of the strike zone.
It's a little different when you're up there at the plate and you don't know what's going on in the hitter's mind. And Michael's having a year. He's hitting 230 coming into tonight's game. You can't be confident. And sometimes everything speeds up, but boy, that would be my focus.
But it's a sport-wide phenomenon, right? You've got hitters who are able to hit the low pitch, less able to hit the high pitch, and yet they're swinging and missing so prevalently on pitches up out of the strike zone. We've seen it's made Jacob deGrom's year, right? The ability to do that.
It has,
and he's not alone.
It's nothing. I mean, the high pitch has always been that pitch. It's like a banana split coming in. You can't stay away from it. And it's not this generation. I've seen a lot of hitters from my day and before that couldn't lay off that high one. It just looks so good.
Nimmo takes a backdoor breaking ball for strike 3 called, and that's 3 strikeouts in a row for Dan Straley.
Backdoor slider. I thought I might have missed, but let's see. It's going to be close. And he got the call. The pitcher got the call there. It's too close to take.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Todd Frazier. So what you're saying is that high pitch not only leads to a lot of strikeouts, but also expanded waistlines.
Yes. Well, you can't have that either. It slows your bat down.
Todd was 2 for 4 last night. It's starting to get cranking now after a rough stretch coming off the disabled list. He's hitting 3 straight games now.
Never on the disabled list before coming to the Mets.
And twice this year. And he takes a slider that catches the top of the strike zone. 2-1. Straley walked 5 in his last start in just 5 1/3 against the Phillies. Behind in the count on Frazier, 3-1 with Bautista on deck. And Todd takes ball 4, and the Mets have the first base runner of the night. A 2-out walk to Frazier. So now Bautista, who has really been struggling, just 1 for his last 29. And his numbers against Straley aren't very promising either, just 1 for 13. He's in right field tonight. Austin Jackson sitting after another big game last night. Jackson 3 hits last night. Frazier takes off early and he walks into second base. I mean, he took off long before Straley came out of his stretch.
That just shouldn't happen. Actually, he timed that pretty doggone good. Never let a runner get a walking lead.
Straley generally not vulnerable to the stolen base. That's only the 5th against him this year. And 6th of the year for Frazier. So the Mets have a runner in scoring position. Last night the Mets had 5 hits with runners in scoring position, the most they'd had since May. And Bautista flailing at the slider, and it's 0-2.
Pitchers throwing more inside too, I've seen this year.
Strelly keeping an eye on Frazier, his former Cincinnati teammate. He skips one into Bautista, and it's 2-2. Strelly had his best year with the Reds 2 years ago, 14-8, 3.76, and landed with the Marlins last year. Was in their rotation all season, 10-9, 4.26. Missed the first month this year with some forearm issues, but he has not missed a start since. Two coming, and that's off the corner, and a full count to Bautista. So the third straight 3-ball count for Strelly. Devin Mesoraco would be next. Boisterous crowd
so far.
Frazier at second and 2 out. 3-2 to Bautista. And it's on the outside corner. He got him looking. Side retired. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Strelly, who's not a big time strikeout pitcher. No score in the second. Visit getfios.com. We referenced last night the Rookie of the Year race in the National League, and I suspect that those are the 3 prime candidates.
Yeah.
Anderson's been here all year.
And as you mentioned in commercial, Gare, when that season is over, those Soto and Acuna will be well over 100 games, and it's a toss-up.
I mean, Soto's put up the best production. I don't think there's any question that if you extrapolate his numbers over a full season, he's been the most impressive of the 3. Well, it's 7 weeks to play, and you know, when you're a rookie, sometimes those last 7 weeks can be the toughest, playing in September the first time.
And all 3 of these guys will be in the same boat, and we'll see who's the last man standing.
And all in the same division, playing against each other.
That's a good point, Gare.
Brian Anderson 0 for 3 last night, hitting .283 for the year. Derek Dietrich on deck, then Martin Prado for the Marlins in the second. What's as impressive to me about Anderson is that he started the year as a third baseman. That's been his prime position, and they moved him to the outfield, and he's done very well there.
And he's played a good outfield, evidently. We've heard from the broadcast team here.
Two coming, and Oswalt misses away. Full count to Anderson, leading off in the second. Strike three call, got him looking. Knee-high fastball. Second strikeout for Oswalt.
Good paint. And we'll take a look at the Met defense, brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. The infield, Rosario, they do the tandem there with Pilecki. It's his turn to start tonight. McNeil swinging the bat well. He's playing every day at second base. And Batista, who's had a couple nights off, with going into that slump, he's back in the lineup out in right field.
Derek Dietrich hits one right near the bag at second. That's where Rosario is. And quickly Oswalt has the second out. So 2 up and 2 set aside. Oswalt's retired the first 5, and now Martin Prado. Prado 1 for 3 last night on a night when the Marlins managed just 4 hits in 7 innings against Zach Wheeler. Prado just 185 at bats this year, an injury-plagued season for the 2nd straight year. Hamstring injuries have knocked him to the DL twice this season. And Oswalt starts him with a fastball for a strike. Corey Oswalt, who's been up and down between the Mets and Las Vegas 6 separate times this year, and a frequent commuter on the 2,000-mile shuttle between the National League and the Pacific Coast League.
No Moss next year.
About time. It's a nice, comfortable 4-hour drive from New York to Syracuse.
Sure, there's the
An hour flight.
Oh.
Ed Hickok's calling the balls and strikes tonight.
That helmet looks disproportionate.
Past the mound, but McNeil behind the bag there to field it, and he throws out Prado to end the inning. Ball took a nice big hop for McNeil, and that's 6 up and 6 down for Oswalt. No score after 2. Tonight's high-speed pitch comes from Infinity and Power the Drive.
The side of the built on the side of the old Orange Bowl. I saw a football game here in the Orange Bowl. I saw the Oakland Raiders beat the Miami Dolphins with Ed Lynch.
I'm sorry. Ed Lynch was playing for the Miami Dolphins?
No, he wasn't. Obviously, it was off season. Came down to visit Ed. I believe it was in the.
Rosario yanks one foul. Did you have to park in somebody's driveway, as people famously did for the Orange Bowl?
We did. And I had to be in, I think it was in the 90s, early 90s. I remember the Dolphins drove down the field. I'll make it brief. They drove down the field, first and goal on the 3-yard line, and Marino threw an interception. It was run back 99 yards for a Raider touchdown. And they never looked back.
You can take your time if you want. Elaborate. Another ground ball toward the middle, and another infielder playing right in the middle. And Castro throws out Mesoraco one away.
4 balls hit up the middle that would normally be base hits. And they've been 4-3 and 6-3 on your scorecard.
This is the new normal.
Yep.
Corey Oswalt looking for his first big league hit. He's gone 0 for 7 in his rookie season. And he pops one up. Dietrich coming near the railing, has room to make the grab. 2 out. And so Straley has gone first time through the batting order with just a single base runner. Both these pitchers off to good starts tonight.
Everybody's swinging. It's like an assembly line.
Now look at the color of that glove that Straley's got.
I know, kind of. It's not color coordinated with the uniform.
It's not powder blue.
I can't say that I like it.
It's not quite like the color of our Pix 11 shirts. It's lighter than that.
It's a color of that candy cotton.
You know what it is? It's kind of like the old Marlins colors when they had the teal.
Yeah, but not that. This is more like cotton candy. Ugh.
I know how much you love cotton candy. You wouldn't want to have a pink glove like, you know, standard cotton candy, so you're probably better off with the blue. Rosario lined out to the second baseman his first time up. Also, a lot of players have their names on their gloves in script. Straley's got the block letters. It's a little different kind of a look. Well, there's some cotton candy. We can have them come up here, Keith, because, you know.
Do you know how that sticks to your fingers and you never get it off? You have to go to the restroom, wash your hands thoroughly.
Rosario drives one to the gap in left center. That ball's going to go back to the wall. Rosario digging for second. He's going to take the turn. He's going to stop right there. The throw goes to third, and that's fortunate for Ahmed, because if they'd thrown behind him, they might have gotten him. He took a wide turnaround second. And the relay man, I think it was Castro, threw the ball to third. If they threw behind him, he could have been a dead duck.
Right, and Ahmed, I love the hustle here and the idea. Coming out of the box, he's thinking trips. But with 2 outs, you do not want, when you're in scoring position already, you do not want to get thrown out trying to stretch it. But tremendous hustle. He's always hustling out of the box.
So that's the first hit for either side. A ringing double by Rosario. And now a pickoff try, and he got him. Rosario had trouble getting back to the bag, and once he stumbled, he was a dead duck. And that ends the top of the third.
Good timing on the pickoff.
Rojas breaking for the bag, and Rosario had no chance. Still no score in Miami. Double deals made for go-getters. Here's the old home of the Marlins, the former Joe Robbie Stadium, which now has a roof of sorts.
Yes, I took the turnpike down from my condo in Juneau.
Miguel Rojas skies one to left. And Fordo settles under it. 1 pitch, 1 out for Oswalt in the third.
And I said, what have they done to that stadium? And now I got to see what they've done. Okay.
Still 1 out and nobody on. Now Magneuris Sierra dropped to the 8 hole after hitting leadoff in last night's game. 0 for 4 last night. And Sierra takes a strike. 15th start for Sierra, who was called up when Lewis Brinson went on the disabled list with a bruised hip. Brinson they're hoping to have back by the end of the month. And Sierra getting a chance to play some center field, but he hasn't hit much. He hasn't walked at all, as in not at all. So he hasn't really been able to use his tremendous speed. Pops one up on the left side. Rosario and Frazier. And Frazier right at that jutting advertising sign, able to make the grab. Just enough room for Todd to make the play, and there are 2 out.
Oswalt continues to pound the strike zone, and here is Frazier, the old pro. Made it look easy.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Dan Straley takes one up the middle for a base hit. Straley having the best offensive season of his career. That's his 5th hit. He had only 5 hits in his entire career before this season, and he has the first hit of the night for the Marlins. Well, clearly the book is out on Oswalt. He's a guy who's going to throw first pitch strikes. He's going to be right around the plate, and the Marlins have been very aggressive with him early in this game.
Well, coming into the series, we were told by the Marlin announcers that this team does not wait around. They get up there and they swing the bat. That's why they're last in walks in the National League.
Ortega flied one to the warning track and right his first time up. And Oswalt misses with a changeup, 1-1.
Oswalt knows what he's doing out there. He's got a good changeup, gets it to sink, pitches inside.
Flores tells Oswalt he's going to play behind Straley at first base. Ortega hits it twice. It only counts as 1 strike. Imagine if it counted as 2. Pitchers would be so happy.
We would be happy.
One-two to Ortega, and it's up and in. 2-2.
There's nothing wrong with this.
And Ortega grounds one to the right side. Flores on the backhand, and he flips it to Oswalt for the 3rd out. Marlins get their first hit. Oswalt gets through the inning cleanly. No score after 3. sculpture, which was a built-in feature when Marlins Park opened in 2012. Designed by Red Grooms. It goes into action every time the Marlins hit a home run, but the new ownership doesn't like it.
Yes, they don't. They don't.
They would like to see it removed. However, it's a question of whether they are legally allowed to remove it, whether they'd have to invest in other artwork to replace it, how much it would cost to dismantle it, whether it would go somewhere else. Maybe they could put it in Jupiter at the Marlins spring training site. I think it has to stay in Dade County, though, according to the way the
I don't know where to
contracts were drawn
put
up.
it in South Beach.
Maybe at the zoo. Maybe it would fit in perfectly with the flamingos and the dolphins. Porpoises.
That's a good suggestion.
That's what Dave Van Horn, our buddy on Marlins Radio, proposes. Make everybody happy. Kids love it. I love it.
I know you do. I'm not crazy about it.
I mean, it wouldn't belong anywhere else except Miami.
Correct. Well, it could be up in Orlando.
Yeah. Jeff McNeil leads off the fourth and takes high from Dan Strelly. McNeil was robbed of a base hit on a fine play by Rojas his first time up. Is that supposed to be a Marlin?
Oh, yes.
I guess. McNeil gets under one to right field, and Anderson camps under it. One out. Each team has had only one hit through the first 3 innings. Rosario doubled in the third for the Mets and got picked off. Strelly singled in the third for the Marlins and got left stranded. Here's Flores, who struck out his first time up against Strelly, whom the Mets just have not been able to solve.
Well, it's just another strike thrower. He's basically got changeup, fastball, slider.
2 seasons with the Marlins, 5 starts against the Mets, a 2.2 ERA. That's driven out to left, chasing Ortega back to the track, and he makes a leaping catch, but then drops it. And Flores will be safe at second base. Well, it was a wonderful play by Ortega until the end. He caught it, he smacked the fence, he dropped the ball. It'll be scored a double for Flores.
Wilmer turns on this fastball in. He likes that ball down and in. Big ballpark, 386 over there. He had it and it lost it on the crash on the wall. Jarred it loose.
Had it right in the webbing of the glove, and then he hit that little pillar, and there went the ball. So the Mets have their second hit. Both have been extra base hits. And now Michael Conforto with a runner at second and 1 out. Michael struck out his first time up.
Straley looks very high strung on the mound. A lot of jitters and shakes and eyes wide open.
It's lined into the Marlins dugout.
Very fidgety.
Now 29 years old. First came up with the A's. He was a 24th round pick by Oakland. To the Cubs, then the Astros. Finally found some success in Cincinnati. Now Miami for 2 years. Taking his time with Conforto, with Nimmo on deck. One-two coming to Conforto. Michael takes the fastball away. 2-2.
Staying away from Michael.
Shortstop hole wide open. Runner in scoring position with 1 out. Conforto fouls back a high fastball. That's the pitch Strelly struck him out on the first time up. Strelly has struck out 4 tonight. Hasn't struck out more than 7 in a game all year.
He hasn't stopped moving yet.
Well, he's got to stop when he takes a stretch.
Yes, he does.
That's a rule. He misses away. Full count to Conforto. So he had him 0-2. Now he's run it to 3-2 with Nimmo on deck. Three-two to Conforto, and it's inside, ball 4, and the Mets have 2 men on. So Strelly got ahead on Conforto 0-2 and loses him to his second walk of the night. And that'll get Nimmo to the plate with 2 men on. Brandon took a call third strike his first time up after going 0 for 5 last night. He has struck out now in each of his last 3 at bats. 116 strikeouts for the year. Only 5 players in the league have struck out more. It's been an interesting year for Nimmo. One where he played at an all-star caliber for most of the first half and has really been trying to find himself in the second half. A big game on Wednesday with 3 doubles and took an 0 for last night. And so it's going right now for Brandon. Still keeping that on base percentage high. .372 right now.
All of a sudden,
Straley is upstairs 2-0.
Straley upstairs has a little difficulty with the left-handers. Lefties hitting .254 off Straley. Right-handers .225. We mentioned earlier he's prone to the long balls, giving up 17 this year. 8 to left-handers.
Well, he's drawing the noose a little tighter around himself. Falling behind Nimmo 2-0.
Good count right here. This is your pitch to hit.
And that's high, ball 3.
And he's just all of a sudden it's slider. You want to throw that behind the count off secondary stuff and you miss with it. Well, that's just the whole world of trouble here. It'll be a take here more than likely. And it's still 3-1 and a good pitch to hit.
Todd Frazier on deck. Strelly running his 5th 3-ball count already tonight. Behind on Nimmo 3-1 with 2 aboard. And Brandon takes a strike. 3-2.
Backdoor slider. This has become such a breaking ball league. Such a behind in the count. See it so much. Breaking balls and off speed stuff. It's predictable.
Second, he's not going. High strikeout hitter at the plate, left-hand batter. No chance you send a runner here.
No. I agree, Gary, 100%.
Second straight full count for Strelly. And Nimmo takes a slider for ball 4.
That was a strike.
Strelly really unhappy with the home plate umpire, Ed Hickox. And the Mets now have the bases loaded.
Jeez, did he miss that one? That's a big pitch and a big spot.
And Juan Nieves, the pitching coach, is going to come out to try and calm down Straley, who is clearly beside himself at not getting that call.
Well, he can't. Straley can't. He's a veteran. He can't act like this. I mean, okay, it's okay to be a little upset here. You make a good pitch. But get over it. You got the bases loaded now. Nothing you can do. Oh, man, that's strike 3. I'm sorry.
What does pitch cast say? It says it's a strike. Well, we're all in agreement, except for Ed Hickox, and he's the only one who matters.
Boy, that's just a crucial miss right there.
Well, it could be a game-changing call.
Yes, it is.
Instead of 2 out and 2 on, now you got the bases loaded, 1 out, and Frazier coming up.
Yep.
Todd drew a walk, stole a base in the second, and he takes the first pitch high for ball 1.
And it's a beautiful thing right here when you're a hitter. You got a pitcher that's missing with the breaking ball with the bases loaded on the first pitch. You're 1-0.
Ball and a strike to Frazier.
He's going to get in trouble with his slider, Gary.
Well, he throws it a ton. I mean, 31% this year, and probably more than that so far tonight. Flores at third, Conforto at second, Nimmo at first with 1 out. And Frazier fouls one back this way, and it's 1-2.
Well, he gets ahead now with the fastball.
Straley's already thrown 20 pitches in this inning. Walks have been a big problem for him lately, and he's just walked 2 in a row. Frazier trying to cash in, and Todd pulls one over the bag and down the line. Flores is in. Conforto right behind him. Nimmo turns third. He will score. It's a bases clearing double for Todd Frazier, and the Mets jump out to a 3-0 lead.
Not a bad pitch either. A changeup. Got it away and down. Frazier just nice hitting right there.
So the walks put Straley in jeopardy. A bad call hurt him, and Frazier cashes in for 3. I don't know what happened to Rafael Ortega down in the left field corner. He disappeared from our view, but it took him forever to dig that ball out. And it might have become an issue because it was very close to being an obstruction on Nimmo as he ran between second and third. If he had not been able to score. Let's see what happened to Ortega here.
Oh, there it is.
That slowed him down. Meanwhile, Nimmo was trying to maneuver his way around a fielder between second and third, and there was no obstruction call made, but it was awfully close. And Nimmo scored easily because Ortega couldn't pick the ball up. Well, Bautista struck out looking his first time up. That's 3 hits in this game. They've all been doubles, and Frazier's brought in 3 runs. And Bautista pulls one toward the left field corner, hooking, foul. Just barely missed another extra base hit. So let's watch Nimmo and see what happens between second and third.
And he's the back runner, folks. Now he's rounding second. And that shortstop's got to know. I mean, the second baseman, come on, you got to know better.
So there was no obstruction called. I'm not sure if any of the umpires were even looking, but it was pretty close. Turns out to be a moot point.
I mean, Nimmo could just run him over, you know.
Yeah.
He's well within his rights.
Better off doing that. That
Yes.
draws the attention to the obstruction. Bautista takes a fastball up and in. First run of the game and the second and third brought to you by Hyundai's epic summer sales event. 3 for the price of 1. One-two coming, and Bautista takes another fastball high, 2-2. Australia has had this inning cave in on him. 27 pitches already.
He's not going to last long in this game. 73 pitches.
Nobody up as yet.
Well, they're laying down.
Well, they got the foam roller.
What are they doing down there?
That's the foam roller. You remember the foam roller in the Mets clubhouse, the one Bartolo Colon used to slam against anything available to make a loud sound, scare people half to death. Another full count for Strelly. It's third in the last 4 batters. There's a Rocco on deck. Three-two coming to Bautista. And he fouls back the fastball. Australia trying to work his way through a difficult inning. Meanwhile, Bautista trying to get himself out of a huge rut that has seen him go 1 for his last 30. Garcia, who pitched a hitless inning last night, is up again. 30th pitch of the inning coming for Strelly, and Bautista pops one up along the third baseline. It's Prado to make the catch and foul ground for the second out, and Bautista got a pitch to hit and popped it up, and so it's going for Jose right now. And you heard his anguish.
No,
there's more of it. So 2 out, pitcher on deck. Let's see if they pitched him as a Rocco, and they won't. He'll be intentionally walked, as he was twice in his last start against the Reds. So that'll be the 3rd walk of the inning, the 4th of the night for Strelly. There it is. Abracadabra.
Can't get used to it.
So 2 on and 2 out for Oswalt, who fouled out his first time up. Be a perfect spot for him to get his first big league hit. He takes a rip at a slider and misses. 0-1. It's all started with a 1-out double by Flores, a ball that was caught but then dropped by the left fielder Ortega, who's had a rough inning. Couple of walks. Frazier's double down the line that scored 3, with Ortega having trouble picking the ball up. And now Strelly with a chance to finally put the brakes on it. 0-2 to Oswalt, and he misses off the plate 1-2. Oswalt, the 8th man up in the inning. Ahmed Rosario would be next. And Oswalt takes strike 3 called. Inning over, but it took 34 pitches for Stroh to get through the inning. The Mets cashed 3 on the Frazier double and lead 3-0. 3-0 New York as we go to the bottom of the 4th, and while Frazier mans third base for the Mets, this man will be manning third base for the St. Lucie Mets tomorrow. Mets Health Report brought to you by Northwell Health. Look north. This is certainly wonderful news that David Wright feels well enough to get back on the field and play in a minor league rehab game tomorrow. Hasn't played in a big league game in 2.5 seasons, but this is the continuation of a process for David, trying to fight the difficult way back from multiple serious injuries.
What, 35 years of age? With all the surgeries that he's had and the debilitating injuries, I just never thought it would be possible for David, and that's just a testament to him and his desire to get back on the field and his hard work and rehab. And boy, most people would have just thrown in the towel here.
And you have no idea what's going to happen from here forward. All we know is that David's going to play in a game tomorrow, and he's had multiple eyes on him, player development people, scouting people. Omar Minaya was in St. Lucie to make sure that he was ready. He's done all the work necessary to get back on the field, and the timing is really interesting too, right? Because David has worked hard all year with the goal of playing in a major league game before the season is over, if he possibly can. And the minor league season has about 3.5 weeks to go. So you've got 20 days on a minor league rehab assignment, and I would think that David would need all or most of those 20 days. So basically, if he was going to make a return to the big leagues this year, as Real Muto grounds one down to Frazier for the first out, if he was going to make a return this year, if he's going to, this is the time when he would have to start playing in games. Otherwise, he would run out of time in terms of the minor league season. So it's it's go time, and we'll see what happens.
And it's going. He hasn't played in so long. He's going to have to rebuild up his stamina. How many games consecutively can he play? His throwing. He's playing third base. It's questionable about his arm. Obviously they wouldn't put him there, Gary, if they didn't feel he could throw across the diamond.
Well, talking to Mickey Callaway today, he said arm strength is still an issue. He can get the ball to first base, but how can he do it at a major league level right now? It's something that they have to find out as he plays a few games. But just the very fact that David, who was such a beloved and inspirational figure for this franchise, is going to be back on the field tomorrow somewhere playing in a baseball game is something that has to make you smile. Castro chops one, and Frazier has to wait for the second hop. Barehands it, but too late. Well, it's really all that Frazier could do. He wasn't going to get to that first long hop, and Castro has an infield hit.
Thought he was playing back too, and the ball took a kind of a little bounce towards the line. Either way, he wasn't going to be able to make the put out. The assist.
So that's just the second hit against Oswalt. A 1-out single for Castro, and here's Brian Anderson, who was called out on strikes his first time, and he grounds one back to Oswalt. A chance for two. He had to wait for Rosario to get to the bag, and that cost him a chance for a double play. Some miscommunication, I think, between Rosario and McNeil, as Oswalt was ready to throw the ball and there was nobody at second base.
That's got to be two. And it looks like it's got to be. You got to get there. Someone's got to get there. McNeil looked a little bit closer to me, but he was playing deeper. Just a late reaction from both infielders. That should not happen on a big league level.
Inning should have been over. It should have been a routine double play. Instead, Anderson at first with 2 out for Derek Dietrich, who grounded out to short his first time up. You got a rookie playing second base. You got a player in his first full season playing shortstop, and they've got to know before the pitch who's responsible to cover on a ball back to the mound.
That's communication right there.
lack of.
Now Oswalt behind on Dietrich 2-0. And that's lined over short. A base hit for Dietrich. Conforto over in the gap to cut it off. Anderson will go to third. Dietrich trying for two. The throw coming in not in time. It's a double for Dietrich. And the Marlins have runners at second and third.
Well, Dietrich is a dangerous hitter. He's a swinger. Obviously, hits the right-handers better. He's really a platoon player.
So the lack of the double play keeps the inning alive, and now the Marlins with a chance to cash in. Second and third and 2 out for Martin Prado, who grounded out his first time up. Oswalt will use the full windup with runners at second and third, and throws the fastball for a strike. So Oswalt forced to work that much harder here in the fourth inning, if nothing else. Line the other way. That's a base hit. Anderson is in. Dietrich right behind him. Bautista's throw to the plate offline. Throw back to first, and now they've got Prado in a rundown. And Rosario puts on the tag to end the inning, but Prado drives home a pair. The Mets' failure to turn a double play winds up costing Corey Oswalt 2 runs. 3-2 Mets after 4.
Rocco's reaction. He was looking for a breaking ball. And how many times have we seen Prado go to the opposite field? And the throw up the line from Bautista. No cutoff man. I know Wilmer dove for the ball, but you got to get up and come back into position to be a cutoff man. So there's a mistake right there.
As Rocco, though, wisely throwing behind Prado, and they erased him to end the inning. But again, you got to be able to turn that 1-6-3 double play, and then there's no run on the board. And Rosario knows it. He leads off and fouls one back. So Rosario's had a couple of difficult situations. The lack of coverage on the double play ball. He got picked off second base after doubling his last time up. Growing pains. 1-2 coming, and he grounds one right at the shortstop Rojas. And a stretch by Dietrich, and he stayed on the bag, and Rosario retired. Rosario wants the Mets to check it out on replay to see if Dietrich came off the bag.
got to wait till they look at the videotape.
Nope, they're not going to challenge it.
Oh, a little sailor. That sailed.
So for Dietrich, a guy who does not have all that much experience at first base, this is just his 24th career start there. He made a pretty nice play. So 1 out and nobody on. Now Jeff McNeil is 0 for 2, and he chases a changeup, 0-1. McNeil's grounded to short. A nice play by Rojas in the first, then he flied out in the fourth. That's slugged out to center field, chasing Sierra back. He's got plenty of room, and he runs it down for the second out. Even with the fences moved in here a few years ago, this is still a cavernous ballpark.
Yes, it is. You have to hit line drives here. I mean, we talked about it in the first night here. 335 down the right field line, 344 down the left field line. I guess they're talking about that double play right there.
I think DiSarcina's probably telling him, and correct me if I'm wrong, you got to throw the ball, and the shortstop will get there.
Yes, but he wouldn't have been there. So you almost got to be a quarterback and think on your feet and lead. Oh, jeez, Rosario. You know, you got to throw to the left of the bag. I mean, those are things that not everything in the course of a game comes out on the chalkboard as you practice in spring training. Sometimes there's those plays like this one where you got to think on your feet and quickly.
One and two to Wilmer. But, you know, for some pitchers, throwing to second base is hard enough. Leading a guy to second base might be even harder.
But you know what I'm saying. If he's late, Gary, and, you know, it's like throwing a ball, you know, a look in over the middle. Just find out where he's at and guide it right to him. And the shortstop will catch it and run to the bag and make the throw.
As long as he's sure that the shortstop is covering, because that seemed a little uncertain as well.
And, you know, 99 out of 100 times, the shortstop's there, or the second base.
So I like what's going on here. DiSarcina's doing his due diligence. He talked to Oswalt. He's talking to Rosario. They're going to talk to McNeil. Everybody's got to be on the same page to make that play work.
And Rosario knows he's got to be there. You can see he knows.
Or shoots one foul. Wilmer got the Mets' 3-run fourth inning started with a fly ball to the wall and left that Ortega caught and then hit the wall and dropped. And that led to a 3-run inning. Strelly with a bit of a bailout with his team getting him a couple of runs. Now trying to put the Mets down, but he hits Flores with a pitch, and the Mets have a 2-out base run.
I've never seen so many guys like yell or when they get close to getting hit or get hit. Murphy did that. Daniel still does.
It's a more vocal generation, kid. Not as reticent as previous generations, perhaps, about expressing themselves.
Reticent. Yes, I agree, 100%.
So Wilmer's at first with 2 out. Here's Conforto, who struck out and walked. Three infielders arrayed on the right side against Michael. That's become standard issue. And slider in for a strike, 0-1. Australia, I think, is happy to have survived to this point. Looked like he might be done for in that 4th inning. But here he's about to throw his 95th pitch of the night. Action going behind him. And that's drilled into right field. A base hit for Conforto. Flores will pull in at second. So Conforto, a walk and now a single the last 2 innings. And the Mets have 2 on and 2 out. And Nimmo coming up. And let's see if Don Mattingly wants to bring in his left-hander.
And he is.
Yep.
And this is a hanging slider right here. I told you he was going to get in trouble with that slider. So Straley looks a little aghast here that Mattingly's yanking him.
Well, he got the first 2 outs in the inning, but then he hit Wilmer, gave up the base hit to Conforto, And Jarlin Garcia will come in to replace him. Straley out after 4 2/3. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Mets up 3-2 in the 5th. We'll be right back. Brandon Nimmo at the plate with 2 out and 2 on, facing the new Marlins pitcher Jarlin Garcia. Nimmo trying to do something no Met has ever done against Garcia, and that is get a hit. 11 innings against the Mets. Jarlin Garcia, no hits allowed, and he hasn't allowed one yet. As Dietrich handles the ground ball, gets Nimmo, and Garcia's now gone 11 1/3 against the Mets without allowing a hit. Still 3-2 New York. Face the lower third of the Marlins batting order. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, it's going to be interesting to see how Oswalt responds this half inning. We saw in the last half inning some of the conversation going on in the Mets dugout after that double play wasn't turned, but it was really the course of the entire half inning, and Oswalt, a relatively even-keeled guy, was pretty heated throughout. He had a very heated, notable conversation with Jeff McNeil when he first came in. Had 2 separate conversations with Dave Island. Spoke with Zach Wheeler 3 times. And for a guy that generally just sits on that, top bench of the dugout for most of his half innings, he spent most of that one pacing back and forth, shaking his head. So let's see if he's cooled off and can settle back in here.
Well, he saws off Miguel Rojas, and that's a good start. And he gets the first out. Let me ask you a question, Steve. You said he was in a heated conversation with Jeff McNeil.
Yes.
Did that give you the impression that McNeil was the one who was supposed to cover?
That, from my point of view, is at least what Corey Oswalt thought, I would think, just given the way they came back in. And Oswalt basically made a beeline to McNeil and was pretty demonstrative with what he was saying to him. I couldn't hear anything, but just seeing him motion. So it looked to me like Oswalt at least initially thought that it should have been Jeff McNeil covering. He actually circled back towards the end of the inning and spoke a little bit more with McNeil as well.
It's more like the hit and run, Gary. You always have the opposite field cover the bag.
Sierra drops down the bunt. Frazier on the bare hand, and Sierra beats it out. Well, that's what they've been trying with Magneri's Sierra, to try and get him on base more. They brought in Juan Pierre to work on his bunting, and that's the way Pierre would have done it. He's got himself a bunt single. So a 1-out base runner for the Marlins, and now Yadiel Rivera will pinch hit for Jarlin Garcia. So Garcia faced 1 batter, retired him. We talked about Jarlin Garcia's hitless streak against the Mets. Longest hitless streak against the Mets to start a big league career ever. 11 in the 3rd innings without allowing a hit. Eliezer Hernandez next man up in the Marlins bullpen. Rivera pinch hitting. Sierra great speed at first. He has not stolen a base yet for the Marlins, but he has barely been on base. But he's got plus speed. And Oswalt is aware. But going back to that play, the double play not turned. I mean, McNeil broke for the bag and then broke it down.
Yes, he did.
Which was what was odd about the whole thing. Good fastball by Oswalt. I mean, watch McNeil. He breaks for the bag.
He's clearly the closest.
And then stops.
And it's always like I said, Gary, they hit and run. The opposite fielder, which in this case a right-hand hitter was McNeil. They usually cover because the hitter's more apt to pull.
They're making sure they communicate now and know who's covering second on the comebacker. And a close play, and Sierra just got his hand back. Oswalt showing off a little better move that time.
He gunned it over there. This was a pickoff move. That was the intent to pick off.
Ooh, and did that hand bounce on the bag? 0-1 to Rivera, hitting 196 for the year. Backup infielder.
Oswald's got to refocus back on the hitter when he goes home. Kind of rushed that one.
Plenty of encouragement for him. He misses with the slider. 2-1. Oswalt still at a very low pitch count, even though he was forced to throw a half dozen more pitches in that 4th inning. Sierra's got a hefty lead. And Rivera pops one up in foul ground. Wilmer gives it a look, but that's out of play.
And there's not a lot of foul territory in this ballpark. Very hitter friendly, the foul territory.
Oswalt right now taking Steven Matz's spot in the rotation. Matz threw a simulated game today, 3 innings, 56 pitches, felt no ill effects, and is expected to rejoin the Mets rotation for the doubleheader in Philadelphia on Thursday. Swing and a miss, and Oswalt strikes out Rivera for the second out. Just the 3rd strikeout of the night for Oswalt. 2 out of the inning.
Up and in fastball, meant to throw it away, wanted it away, missed up and in, tied him up.
So 2 out, back to the top of the batting order for Rafael Ortega. Sierra carrying the tying run at first with 2 out, and again Oswalt checks in on it. Of course, with the doubleheader Thursday, the Mets are going to need 6 starters for this turn through. But Mickey Callaway has said publicly that he might well keep 6 in the rotation even after that, because Oswalt's been that good. He's earned it, and they do not have any intention right now of pulling Jason Vargas from the rotation despite his struggles.
And everybody may have to adjust except DeGrom, and he's earned a normal rotation, 5-man rotation start every 5th day.
For sure, because he has individual goals to pursue, and a 6-man rotation would cost him a start or 2, which might well put a crimp in his Cy Young hopes. So they'll figure that stuff out down the road. But in the end, it comes down to the fact that Oswalt's earned a spot. Hit down the left field line, slicing toward the corner, foul ball. 0-2 to Ortega. And when you think about Corey's first big league start here in Miami in late June, where he just couldn't get out of the 3rd inning, gave up a couple of home runs, he has progressed by leaps and bounds since then, even with a couple of trips back to Vegas in between.
Hey, he throws strikes. He comes after hitters.
Cut by Ortega, who hit one for warning track in right field with his best swing in the 1st inning. JT Realmuto would be next. I'm really surprised Sierra has not taken off at any point.
You don't want to do it with 2 strikes when a hitter's got 2 strikes on.
No, except in some situations, if you have one of your big hitters up, you want to save him and turn it bad. If you're thrown out, let him start from scratch the next inning.
You can do that, sure. Certainly with an 8th place hitter up.
There he goes, and it's fouled off.
Well, he got almost halfway there and stopped. Gare was a big bluff.
I don't know what that is, because he could have easily been picked off had the ball not been fouled off. Sierra got off to a really quick start with the Cardinals last year when he first came up with them, but has really struggled since coming to the Marlins. Ortega has to lean back, 2-2. Rafael Ortega playing just his 2nd game for Miami. Called up yesterday when Justin Bour was traded away. 7th pitch to him, and Oswalt buries that one in the dirt, 3-2. So that'll get Sierra on the move. 3-2, 2 out. Oswalt has not walked a batter tonight, and now he has. So Ortega's on with a walk, and that puts 2 men on for Realmuto.
Well, even though Realmuto has been in a slump, it's a good time for Dave Island to come out and have a chat. Boy, losing Ortega with Realmuto, like as I said, no matter, I don't care if he's in a slump, he's the best hitter on this ball club.
Realmuto is 0 for 2 tonight, struck out and grounded out, just 1 for his last 27.
He's befuddled Realmuto in his first 2 at bats with the changeup. Let's see if he goes back to it.
Sierra at second, Ortega at first, both can fly. They represent the tying and go-ahead runs in a 3-2 game in the 5th. And Realmuto takes the first pitch curveball inside for ball 1. That's bullpen remains quiet behind Oswalt. And now 2-0 to Realmuto.
Missed with a slider, missed with a changeup. Now you're 2-0. 2 secondary pitches behind in the count.
And we get some stirring around down to the Mets bullpen. Realmuto in a good spot here, 2-0. And he swings and grounds one past Rosario, base hit. That'll bring in the tying run. Sierra scores. Ortega goes to third. Realmuto cashes in a run with a 2-out hit, and the game is tied at 3.
Well, the good hitters, when the men are on base, they kind of bear down. A little tougher outs. Got ahead in the count. Just out of the reach of Rosario.
Well, second straight start where Oswalt has had a 3-run lead and seen it disappear. And now Castro will bat with the go-ahead run at third. Castro chopped one off the plate for an infield hit his last time up. And he takes a sinker for a strike. Paul Sewald begins to loosen the Mets bullpen. 21 pitches in this inning for Oswalt, who's now given up 6 hits tonight. And Castro moves back, a ball and a strike. It all began with the bunt hit by Sierra, but then the key batter, the walk to Ortega. Guy who's had 6 big league at bats in the last 2 years. Castro chops one to Frazier. He'll make the long throw to first, right on target. That ends the inning, but not before the Marlins tied on Realmuto's 2-out RBI hit. 3-3 after 5. MLB.com. Todd Frazier's 3-run double gave the Mets a 3-0 lead. That has disappeared. And we have a tie game as we go to the 6th inning. Roof closed. We had some massive thunderstorms again late this afternoon, as we did yesterday. It's cleared out, but we remain hermetically sealed.
We no longer have to worry about the weather down here.
23-year-old Eliezer Hernandez will take over the pitching as we go to the 6th.
A Rule 5 guy they got from Houston. His last 6 of 8 outings, he has not given up a run, but the ERA is not pretty.
Todd Frazier will greet him and takes a strike. Well, the Mets saw Hernandez as a starting pitcher back in May. He's made 5 starts for the Marlins. He pitched really well that game. Gave up just a run and 5 hits in 5 innings. Frazier has the big hit today for New York. Pulled a 3-run double into the left field corner in the 4th. He's also walked and stolen a base, so the returns are improving for Todd as he moves further and further away from his DL stint. And he takes inside 2-1. Bautista and Mesoraco to follow for the Mets in the 6th. Dan Strelli, no decision, 4 2/3, 3 runs, 4 hits, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. Frazier lifts one to right. Over toward the line comes Anderson. A long way to go into foul ground, and he slides. And did he catch it? He did.
Yes, he did.
Wow, what a play by Brian Anderson. He was playing over toward right center against Frazier, and he had a country mile to go. Went into a slide, extended the glove, and he got it.
Well, there you see him right there, and he's got to negotiate the wall too. And that's just a very fine play.
Well, we talked about the fact that he's made the transition from third base to right field and done it well. Well, can't do much better than that. Senor Hernandez appreciates it. We'll say Bautista's taken a call third strike and fouled out to third 0 for 2. Mets have had 4 hits tonight. They pounded out 13 last night. And they may need a whole lot more tonight. Hernandez, 19th relief outing to go with 5 starts. And spins one outside, 2-1. Bautista lines one into center field for a base hit. Well, nobody needed one more than Jose, who was 1 for 31 going into that at bat, and laces a fastball into center field.
Good line drive swing. Bautista does stay level. Good high ball hitter.
I mean, you can stay level and hit home runs.
You can hit line drives.
I mean, he had 54 home runs in a season.
Yeah. It's just a matter when you swing level, Gary. If you get under the ball, just a pinch. I mean, it's a cylindrical bat. You get under that ball just a little bit. It got backspin. It's a 2-iron out of it.
So why is everybody trying to do it a different way?
And don't go there. I've had it up to here with that.
Mesoraco skies one out to left. Over toward the line, Ortega into foul ground. He's got room to make the catch. It's funny, there isn't much room in foul territory between the bases, but there's more than enough in the corner. And Ortega took advantage of that to retire Mesoraco for the 2nd out. And Corey Oswalt's going to stay in and bat for himself.
Good.
He's thrown just 70 pitches in 5 innings. Most of those have come in the last 2 innings. We'll bat here with Bautista at first and 2 out. Takes a rip of the fastball, 0-1. Mets have not hit a home run tonight. They didn't hit a home run last night. They didn't hit a home run in their last 2 games against Cincinnati. The Mets have not gone 4 straight games without a home run since 2015, right before they traded for Cespedes in late July. 1-2 to Oswalt. And this is low. 2-2. 23-year-old Eliezer Hernandez, a native of Venezuela. Rosario would be next. And Oswalt hits one on the ground right Castro. And that retires the side. So Hernandez works a scoreless top of the 6th. Still 3-3 in Miami. Marlins, this was a teardown, and he knew it going in, and he's still having a good time managing, but it's been different for Donnie this year.
You know, for me, this is probably the toughest year managing wise from the standpoint of wins and losses, and I think that's what you always deal with, because that's what we're here for, and you know you want your guys playing to win every day, and so not having that success is hard to deal with, because you don't like getting beat, you know, and you don't like losing games, and you don't want guys to get used to losing games. And I want to make sure our guys understand that you appreciate the effort that they're playing with, even though the wins aren't coming. Continue to play hard, you know, those type of things. So I always want to make sure that let them know we see the small victories, and try to keep hold of the small victories and make sure that they understand that we see them.
Well, the one thing you got to watch out for when you have a team that's in last place, miles out of it, and really coming to the ballpark with not much to play for other than to do the best you can do to get that kind of effort every day, day in, day out. And that's a tough job for a manager.
Let me ask you this, though, as Derek Dietrich stands in after Anderson grounded out to start the bottom of the 6th. Is it different if you're a player on a team where going into the season you knew that you had no chance? You knew that management was going a different route, younger players building toward the future, as opposed to a team like the Mets, who intended to contend this year, and it's gone the other way for them. Is it different for a player, one situation versus the other?
Well, I think the difference is it's different for the veteran. It's different for the young player that's getting a chance to play. Certainly the Mets this year, great expectations and very disappointing, very disheartening. This ball club went through it differently, very disheartening. They dismantled this ball club in the offseason, completely got rid of their best players, and they continued with it into the season. It's very difficult for the manager and the coaching staff to get the players to go out there and keep them focused on playing 100%.
Flores handles the ground ball, and Oswalt has 2 quick outs in the 6th inning. So which is harder, the team that wasn't trying to win, at least from a management perspective in the first place, or the team that was trying to win and has found their season go south?
They're different, Gary, but it's no fun losing 90+ ball games a year. It is drudgery coming to the ballpark, out of it playing games that are meaningless. You only have to look forward when you're young. I remember with the Cardinals when we lost 90 games, Reds last year in '76. Red Shandies. We would look forward to the Dodgers coming to the town, the Phillies, because they were the first place team, and we would play them tough. We might lose, but then the Cubs would come to town, the lowly Cubs, or San Diego, and we fall right back into our losing ways. So you've got to give it 100%. And
so you're saying it really doesn't matter what the expectations were coming into the year. If you're having a losing season, you have to cope with it the same way no matter what.
You have to.
And Prado takes one off the helmet.
Did that get his helmet? I don't know if it did.
Well, the helmet went flying. We'll have to look at the replay.
I think it got his shoulder.
He dumped.
Yep, elbow in the pad.
Didn't catch any of the helmet?
Well, it would have been a ricochet and unintentional.
And he looks at it. Oswalt says, wow, yeah,
No.
You're right. His arm got all of it. And that's fortunate.
Well, Martine's been around long enough to know that he didn't mean that.
And now you hope Oswalt doesn't get shaken by that. Frazier just went to the mound to try and settle him down. So now we'll face Rojas, who had a 2-run homer last night. We didn't know it at the time, but Rojas was playing with a heavy heart last night. His 12-year-old sheepdog had passed away earlier in the day, and he said he was in tears throughout the game, but composed himself in time to hit that home run last night against Zach Wheeler. So a pet owner knows.
Yep.
Not easy.
It's not easy to lose your loved pooch or your kitten, your kitty.
For Rojas, he said it was the first pet he's ever had. He said he was scared of dogs before until he got this sheepdog and had her for 12 years, and yesterday was a very rough one for him. And he pulls one just foul. 1-1.
Bad play by the ball boy down there. Ball got by him.
This means he has to do some more running.
A left-hander.
Maybe they should put the left-hander down the right field line
That's a good point.
so he doesn't have to backhand the ball.
Well, against the wall, if you're a
Yeah.
left-hander, you don't have to backhand.
Right. Tap her up the line, and that will stay foul. Braves have gone in front of the Brewers 2-1 as they play in the 7th. Atlanta moved into first place by percentage points over the Phillies last night, as they got another strong start from Kevin Gausman, and the Phillies lost in San Diego to a rookie pitcher, Jacob Nix. They got shut out in Nix's big league debut. Phils are up 2-0 early on in their game in San Diego tonight, and they've got their ace Aaron Nola on the mound. 1-2 coming. Hit out to right center over in the gap. Nimmo took a bad angle, but he dives and he makes the catch. Wow. Nimmo doing a great job making up ground after initially taking too shallow an angle toward the ball, and he robs Rojas of an extra base hit and keeps this game tied.
They robbed him of an extra base hit, and also the Mets, it would have been an RBI double. That's a terrific play.
Nimmo laying out. Saves Oswalt's bacon in the 6th. Still 3-3. Keep this game tied.
Watch top of your screen. Nimmo in center. A little bit, not a great break, but he broke in, didn't have to change his course. And that ball was fading away from him like a slice on a golf course. And boy, he made a run-saving catch there.
Happiest man in baseball.
It's fun to play this game, Darren.
Fireballing right-hander Tyrone Guerrero comes in to pitch the 7th inning for the Marlins. 99 on his first fastball to Ahmed Rosario.
There's his numbers right there. 46 game. Too many walks. But a hard thrower, another big arm.
We've seen him overpower the Mets at times, but he's also been vulnerable. Guerrero's kind of come out of nowhere this year. A guy who had a cup of coffee with the Padres a few years ago. 27 years old, so he's old for a rookie.
Well, you got to figure if you're 27 years of age and you're still just a power pitcher that doesn't know where it's going, I don't think you've had enough time to try to find it.
Well, if you're 6'8" and you throw 100 miles an hour, they're going to give you chances.
Yep.
And he's run with it this year. Rosario pops one foul off the right side. That'll go out of play. Guerrero, a native of Colombia. Now in his 46th game of the year. Rosario's 1 for 3 tonight. He doubled in the 3rd, then got picked off second base. McNeil and Flores to follow in the 7th. And Ahmed hits the slider on the ground right at Castro. And that's the first out. Here's your Honda upcoming schedule. We're on picks again tomorrow. And the Mets go back to New York. Play the makeup game with the Yankees in the Bronx on Monday. 2 games in Baltimore, and then 5 against the Phillies. Doubleheader Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Philly, Sunday in Williamsport. Don't forget whether the game is on SNY, Picks, ESPN, Facebook. You can always find WB Mason post-game live on SNY after every Mets game. No matter what network airs the actual game, the post-game show is always on SNY.
Dear, I'm so glad you brought that up. I forgot.
Jeff McNeil's 0 for 3 tonight. Hit a deep fly ball to center his last time up.
Oh,
And a very ugly hack at a 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
I don't know what went on there.
Fish hit. That's driven to left center. Sierra over in the gap though, and he picks it off for the second out. Hard hit ball by McNeil. So a couple of those turned into outs tonight. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Flores. Wilmer doubled and scored in the 4th. Was hit by a pitch in the 5th. Mets 3 runs 5 hits. The Marlins 3 runs 6 hits. Mets had a 3-0 lead. Miami got 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th to tie it. Corey Oswalt has gone 6 innings for New York, 84 pitches. I think he's coming out. The only time that Corey has been pushed to the 7th inning since he's been in the big leagues was in his last start, and that didn't end well. He gave up the home run to Inciarte against the Braves. And the Mets have action going in their bullpen. Fastball strike, 0-2. He hasn't thrown more than 87 pitches in a big league game. And it looks like Mickey Callaway was giving him the "you're done" message. By the way, that last pitch by Tyrone Guerrero was 103 miles an hour.
The last 2 pitches, 102, 103, Gare. So when there's another one, so you know you got to be a little more set up there. He's a hard thrower.
I'm just glad that, you know, graphically our radar gun can handle that. Bobby Wall looks like he'll get the bottom of the 7th for New York. You know, there's a time he didn't need that 3rd digit. Now so many guys are throwing hard, it pops up more often.
Well, you needed it when the Astros came to town.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, you know, the number on the radar gun turns yellow when it's 95 or higher. I'm wondering whether they should boost that up and maybe not go to yellow until it's maybe 97. Now that everybody's throwing harder than they used to.
I think, well,
maybe they just need a different color when you get to 100.
I think above 97 it should be red.
Like steam.
Well, warning, Will Robinson.
Slider off the plate from Guerrero, 2-2.
Well, there was a few guys that threw, I feel, 100 miles an hour out of the bullpen. Bedrosian, Gereltz from the Giants.
Wilmer hits one out to right field, back toward the corner. Anderson onto the warning track, and he runs it down to end the inning. 1-2-3 for Guerrero. Stretch time tied at 3. shop, ChooseNissan.com. Martin Prado drove in a pair of runs with a 4th inning hit. JT Realmuto tied the game with a 5th inning 2-out RBI hit. And we are 3-3 as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Mets will go to their bullpen. And right-hander Bobby Wall will come in.
Acquired from Oakland for Jairus Familia. Gave up a 2-run home run in that Red Series. The second game is over the top, straight fastball, throws hard.
Magneuris Sierra, who bunted for a hit and scored the tying run, leads off in the 7th. And Frazier way in against the threat of the bunt, and he shows bunt again and takes a strike. JT Riddle is on deck to bat for the pitcher, and then Rafael Ortega. So 3 speedy left-hand hitters in a row up against Bobby Wall. Sierra
didn't like that curve.
Nope. Better off bunt. Paul Sewald up in the Mets bullpen. Warner's moved back now with 2 strikes on Sierra. And he foul tips the fastball for strike 3. So Wall makes quick work of Sierra for the first out in the home 7th.
Quick work. I mean, he just overmatched Sierra here.
Now JT Riddle will pinch hit for Tyrone Guerrero. Riddle pinch hit last night, struck out against Zach Wheeler. And he pops one up in left field. Easy for Conforto. And quickly Wall has retired the first 2. Corey Oswalt, 84 pitches in 6 innings, 3 runs, 6 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, a hit batsman. Another quality start for Oswalt in his 7th big league start. He's going to stick around.
He looks good. I like him.
Adam Conley is up in the Marlins bullpen. Looks like he'll be on to pitch in the 8th inning, with Conforto and Nimmo, the 2 left-hand hitters, due to start it. Here's Ortega, who's 0 for 2 and a walk. And a knee-high fastball at 98 from Wall. Came on the air tonight talking about the Mets bullpen. 1.59 ERA in August. And all these young hard throwers, Bobby Wall, Tyler Bachelor, Jacob Rame, Drew Smith, all getting a nice look over these last 7 weeks of the season to see who can be part of the Mets bullpen going forward.
Well, there's going to be open competition come March.
I think the competition has begun right now.
Yes. Very good, Gary. How many pitches did Oswalt throw?
84.
Good job. Should have been just 1 run with that defensive lapse and that double play ball and that 2-run 4th.
Yeah, the biggest mistake that Oswalt made was walking Ortega with 2 out in the 5th to give Realmuto a chance to drive in the tying run. Wall trying to avoid making the same mistake here, facing Ortega with 2 out and nobody on. Two coming. And he just got a piece of it. Our next Picks telecast is tomorrow when the Mets meet the Marlins. Coverage begins at 12:30 with Spectrum Picks pregame right here on Picks 11, New York's very own. Again, the 2-2. And Ortega drills one into right for a base hit. Turn at bat for Rafael Ortega. He's on for the 2nd time. And the Marlins have the tie-breaking run aboard with Realmuto coming up. Real Muto singled into left center to tie up the ball game in the 5th. Let's see whether Ortega has the chops to try and steal a base. He had 12 stolen bases in the minors this year.
Well, he's got the white shoes.
Do they make you run faster?
The high tops.
I always thought that guys with white shoes in football looked like they ran faster. I don't know if that applies in baseball.
Billy White shoes.
Joe Willie Namath.
And Joe Willie wore the whites too. You got that right.
He wasn't fast, at least not at the pros.
In college, he was something else. Alabama.
Maybe before he started tearing up his knee.
Yep. I remember there was a national televised game, Alabama, which was unusual on the West Coast. And it was a night game, if I recall.
Sure wasn't the Orange Bowl?
Maybe it was, and Namath had just had a tremendous game.
We'll say the white high tops are an unusual baseball thing these days. Well, Wall all of a sudden having trouble throwing a strike behind on Real Muto 3-0, and he's put himself in a very dangerous spot. Darwin Castro on deck. 3-3 game in the 7th. Wall getting a high leverage spot here. And now has to dig himself out of a hole against Real Muto. And it's too high, ball 4. So a 4-pitch walk to Real Muto after the 2-out hit by Ortega. And now the tie-breaking run is in scoring position, as Araujo is going to take a journey out to the mound to talk to Wall before he takes on Castro. Wall retired the first 2 hitters with ease. He blew away Sierra. He got Riddle on 1 pitch to fly out. But now he's got himself a tight spot to deal with, and Mickey Callaway will be very interested to see how he responds. Castro tonight is 1 for 3, had an infield hit in the 4th, otherwise grounded out twice. 1 for 7 in this series. Got a lot of speed on the bases. Ortega at second, and Real Muto is probably the fastest catcher in the game on at first. Castro takes a letter high strike, nothing in 1.
Looks like Castro's blowing a bubble right before Wall breaks from the belt.
Some guys can multitask.
Not this time. Yes, there it goes.
And a half swing, and he went around. Ramon de Jesus with the call down at first, and it's 0-2. Starlin never looks too perturbed.
No,
that's very relaxed.
Almost too relaxed. Oh, he did swing there.
So now Wall has Castro in a 2-strike hole. And the curveball struck him out. Bobby Wall gets himself out of a jam, striking out Castro. 2 strikeouts in the inning for the rookie right-hander. On to the 8th, still tied at 3. doubleheader from the Orioles behind 10 strikeouts for David Price. First time he's done that in a few years. They're 2-2 in the 6th in the nightcap. Nationals got 2 homers, 6 RBIs from Ryan Zimmerman to beat the Cubs today. Diamondbacks and Reds are 2-2 in the 7th. Diamondbacks begin the day tied with the Dodgers for first place in the West. The Dodgers are up 2-0 in Colorado in the 5th. And the Brewers have just scored 3 runs in the 8th inning, 2 of them on a Mike Moustakas double, and they're in front of Atlanta 4-2 in the 8th. Milwaukee trying to hang with the Cubs. They can gain a game if they win tonight and be just 2 behind. Here in Miami, playing under the roof, we go to the 8th inning in a 3-3 game. And Adam Conley comes out of the bullpen for Miami.
Well, second night in a row for Conley. Threw an inning last night, the 9th inning. Gave up a hit, struck out 2. There's his numbers on the year.
Michael Conforto leads off. Michael has singled and walked tonight, 1 for 2. And takes a fastball strike from Conley. Nimmo and Frazier to follow. Same defense they've played every at bat against Conforto tonight.
Pitching him away and leaving the left side of the infield wide open.
And he dribbles one foul. 1-2. Conley, the 5th Miami pitcher of the night. Dan Straley started, went 4 2/3 innings, allowed 3 runs, 4 hits. Arlen Garcia retired his only batter. Eliezer Hernandez pitched a scoreless inning. Tyrone Guerrero a 1-2-3-8, and now a 1-2-3-7, and now Conley in the 8th. And the slider away to Conforto, 2-2. Conley, a former starting pitcher who has seen his fastball velocity go up 5.5 miles an hour from last year from starting to relieving.
Oh,
and he fires that fastball in 96 and just misses. 3-2.
Boy, oh boy, I tell you what. Home plate umpire Ed Hickox, he's had a couple brain locks. Maybe it's that helmet.
And ball 4, and Conforto's on base for the 3rd time. So the Mets have the tie-breaking run on to start the 8th inning. And now Brandon Nimmo is 0 for 2 and a walk tonight, 0 for 7 in this series. With the lefty on the mound and nobody up in the bullpen, would you think about bunting in this spot with Nimmo?
I would not. Let Nimmo swing.
And he does square and takes a strike. Let's see if they keep it on. Frazier and Bautista, right-hand bats to follow. And Nimmo ready to swing, but he takes a strike, and now he's down in the count 0-2. Laced. One hopper snagged by Castro, and they turn the double play. Oh, wow. Starlin Castro with a gem. A bullet one hopper on the backhand, and he starts the 4-6-3 double play.
Boy, that double, 1st and 3rd minimum right here. Look what the center fielder is. That's got double written all over it. What a play by Castro on the backhand.
Well, we have seen some outstanding defensive plays tonight. Anderson made one against Frazier in the 6th. Castro with that beautiful play. Nimmo had a catch of his own to rob Rojas in the 6th. So now Frazier bats with 2 out and nobody on. Todd delivered all 3 Met runs with a double in the 4th inning. He's also drawn a walk, stolen a base tonight. Getting bailed out by Castro. There's a nice changeup. There's a hand the count on Frazier, 1-2.
Well, that would have set the Mets up for a big inning.
Frazier down on strikes to end the inning. Still 3-3 going to the bottom of the 8th. Sixth inning. Go ahead run at first.
He does not make this play. That run scores. It's a 4-3 ball game. And the smiles.
Smiles from Oswalt too. Now we go to the bottom of the 8th, and Paul Sewald is on a pitch for New York. Paul last pitch Tuesday night. Remember, he came in right after the rain delay against the Reds. Worked an inning and 2/3. No runs, 1 hit. He'll face Brian Anderson leading off the bottom of the 8th. Anderson's 0 for 3 tonight, 0 for 6 in the series. And he takes a fastball for a strike from Sewald. Bobby Wall worked the 7th, allowed a single and a walk, but struck out a pair, no runs. After Oswalt went the first 6. And now Sewald in the 8th. Anderson, then Dietrich and Prado for the Marlins in the bottom of the 8th. Darts the fastball outside, 1-2. It's such an up and down year for Paul. His April was about as good as you could ask for. Drew Steckenrider up in the Miami bullpen. Breaking ball hit toward the hole, a base hit for Anderson. So the Marlins have the tie-breaking run aboard with nobody out. Now you can watch the Pix games on the go. Just log on to Pix11.com or download the Pix11 app for mobile devices. So Anderson at first and nobody out. Here's Derek Dietrich, who doubled into left center in the 4th and scored a run. 1 for 3 on the night. Anderson not really a base stealer. He's got 2 this year and has been caught 4 times. And Dietrich takes a sinker low for ball 1. Our team Prado is on deck. Dietrich looking down to see if anything's on here. Can't imagine they'd bunt with Dietrich.
No way.
Half swing, and he went around. Fooled on the slider by Sewald. It's 1-1. Dietrich takes it on the corner for a strike. 1-2. Dietrich's had a nice offensive year. About as dangerous a hitter as the Marlins have at this point. He skies one into right center. Nimmo and Bautista converge, and Nimmo takes charge of it. Back to first goes Anderson, 1 out. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Nissan. Get to Nissan for big model year-end savings on the last of our 2018s. Shop ChooseNissan.com. So 1 out and 1 on. Here's Prado who has the biggest hit of the night for the Marlins. A 2-run single in the 4th inning.
He handles the bat well. Always been a guy that can go to the opposite field. Good situational hitter.
Grounds it down to third. Past Frazier into left field, a base hit. Anderson pulls in at second. And so Prado with his second hit of the night. And the Marlins have 2 men on in the 8th.
Looks like Prado's kind of getting back in the groove. He's too good a hitter.
So 2 aboard with 1 out. And now Miguel Rojas, who was robbed by Nimmo his last time up on that catch you saw on our play of the game. With this visit, the Mets are down to 2 mound visits remaining. The old MVR. So here's Rojas, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Anderson at second, Prado at first with 1 out. 3-3 game in the 8th. And some heavy lifting for Oswalt. And that one skips away from Mesoraco, and that moves the runners to second and third.
Oh, no footwork at all from Mesoraco right there. Just backhand. That's a wild pitch, but boy, oh boy, in this point in the game, this can't happen.
So here's the dilemma now as you watch Mesoraco not go down for that ball. If you walk Rojas, you bring up Sierra, who is so fast you can't even think about doubling him up. So you'd have to play the infield in anyway. So they're going to pitch to Rojas here. Frazier holding Anderson at third base, so he can't get too far down the line. And Rojas takes the slider down. 2-0.
If you're a hitter right here, you're going right up the middle. This is the bottom of the 8th. Put your team ahead. You need a sacrifice fly here, minimum.
And if you're the Mets, you need a strikeout in this spot, but you don't have a strikeout pitcher on the mound. And Rojas flailing at the slider, and it's 2-1. Rojas taking a long look down at Freddie Gonzalez. He's not a bad bunter, so a squeeze is not out of the question.
Well, Frazier's parked on the base.
See that more and more now, something you never used to see before. The third baseman holding the runner.
You can still get a big lead.
Trying to slow him down if he runs on contact. So maybe take that safety squeeze out of order. That's why the teams have begun to play it that way.
It's like a reverse left-hander on the mound if he wants to pick you off. And if the third baseman's like a first baseman holding you on, you're going to take your normal lead.
Tyler Batchelor up in the bullpen. Now Oswalt behind 3-1. And Rojas swings and misses, and it's 3-2. They threw him a 2-0 breaking ball, a 3-1 breaking ball.
Ball 4.
Well, he could certainly use a strikeout. Three-two coming, and he just got a piece of that. Rojas has been a huge thorn in the Mets side, and he's been very effective this year with runners in scoring position. 341 at 7th in the National League. Anderson at third, Prado at second. 3-2 coming, and he misses ball 4, and that loads the bases. So it's 2 hits, a wild pitch, and now a walk to Rojas, and the Marlins have bases loaded, 1 out, and Dave Allen's going out to the mound. You got McNairy, Sierra coming up, and you're going to have to keep the infield in for him.
Absolutely.
Just too fast. You can't even think about doubling them up.
You can play your middle infielders maybe 2 or 3 feet on the dirt, but you got to have the infield in.
And of course, you have to be alert to the bunt possibility. We've already seen Sierra bunt for a hit in this game.
And that would be the job of the corner infielders and the pitcher.
Last time up, Bobby Wall blew Sierra away. Different kind of pitcher on the mound now with Oswalt. Middle infielders a couple of steps back from all the way in.
Yep.
And Sierra slices one foul. Well, with that visit by Island, the Mets are down to 1 mound visit remaining. I don't think we've seen that happen this year.
Wow. That was the pitch to get your sacrifice fly. That was right down the old pipe.
That's very shallow in the outfield. Sierra not a lot of power. And he fouls it back, and now Oswalt ahead with a couple of fastballs, 0-2.
Another good one to get a fly ball.
Isaac Galloway is out on deck to pinch hit with the pitcher spot due up next. Oh-2 to Sierra, and he leaves one wide, 1-2. One-two coming. Lifted foul. That'll go out of play. Sierra hangs in there.
Sierra pulls off the ball. Just keep the ball away. Go up and away. You'll get him. He's had 3 pitches on the outer side of the plate, outer half of the plate, to get a fly ball, and he pulls off.
Oswalt 20 pitches deep into this 8th inning, and Sierra able to foul back another fastball.
Wants a breaking ball.
He fouls that back. Anderson at third, Prado at second, Rojas at first with 1 out. 7th pitch coming from Oswalt to Sierra. Struck him out. Big strikeout for Paul Oswalt. 2 men down.
Just kept the ball away. Eventually he got him. He's on top of the plate and he can't cover the outside corner, Gary.
So now bases loaded, 2 out, and Isaac Galloway will pinch it. Galloway, a great story. 11 years in the Miami farm system. 11 years in the same organization, and finally got his first call up this year at the age of 28. And he hits the first pitch in the air, foul off the right side. That'll go out of play. Galloway 2 for 7 thus far in his big league career after waiting forever. He's hitting .262 in New Orleans with 9 home runs when he got called up. Bases loaded, 2 out, and Oswalt trying to find his way through. This will be his 25th pitch of the inning. And Galloway takes a knee-high changeup for a strike, and it's 0-2. Citi Field South. Just missed. 1-2. Hard-working inning for Oswalt. Really emblematic of his season. Been a lot of good and a lot of not so good. One-two. Center field. Nimmo cuts over. Side retired. Oswalt finds his way into and out of big-time trouble in the 8th inning. On to the 9th, tied at 3. The Picks Morning News crew with breaking news, traffic, and sports, plus the latest weather to keep you in the know. Mornings from 4:30 to 9 on the Picks 11 Morning News, New York's very own. 9th inning in fast-moving Miami. Drew Steckenrider will take over the pitching.
He's a hard thrower, and you can see they put Bear Claw on the DL with a bad back, and he was struggling. They're kind of hoping Steckenrider might step in.
Jose Bautista leads off the 9th. Of course, they had Brad Ziegler when the year began. He's now in Arizona. Barraclough took over the closing from there, and now it may be Steckenrider's turn. Bautista 1 for 3 at a base hit to center field his last time up. And takes a fastball for a strike. 0-2. Devin Mesoraco on deck. Then the pitcher's spot for the Mets in the 9th. It's Guillorme and Reyes as left-handed pinch hitters, and got Austin Jackson with a helmet on, and Bautista takes evasive action. 1-2. Why not Jackson? He's been so hot.
Yeah.
Even against the right-hander. Steckenrider, the 6th Miami pitcher of the night. Started Van Straley, went 4 2/3. The Mets have not scored against the Miami bullpen over 3 1/3. Works that one outside. 3-2. Well, Adam Conley walked the leadoff batter in the 8th inning. Got through it thanks to a spectacular play by Castro. Steckenrider in danger of walking the leadoff batter in the 9th. But he strikes out Bautista for the first out.
Fastball away. Belt high. Had to reach for it. It's been a struggle for Bautista.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Devin Mesoraco, who's 0 for 2. He has an intentional walk tonight. He's been the 9th inning home run king for the Mets. He's hit 5 of them this year of his 9 home runs. Austin Jackson on deck to pinch hit. Robert Gsellman getting ready for the bottom of the 9th. And Steckenrider ahead on Mesoraco, 1-2. And Mesoraco down on strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts for Steckenrider to start the top of the 9th.
Boy, all upstairs. Just overpowered Mesoraco.
So now it's Austin Jackson, who through his first 12 games as a Met is hitting .472, which is the highest batting average anybody's ever had in their first 12 games as a Met. Second on the list was Daniel Murphy, .441. Third on the list, Keith Hernandez,
Yes.
.435.
Yeah, the next month I went in the tank.
I'm going to say that .435 in your first 12 games is pretty good considering how much you hated being there.
That was what I had a bad July, bad first half of August. It was a tough year for me.
Well, Austin Jackson hoping not to follow in your footsteps. He'd like to keep that .472 going.
I'm sure glad I stayed.
Me too. Imagine if we gone to like Montreal. Couldn't be doing the Montreal games right now. 2-1 to Jackson with 2 out, and Austin takes a rip and it comes up empty. 2-2. Jackson's been so hot. Each of the last 3 games he started, he's had 3 hits, including last night. And 2 singles and a double. Got 2 home runs since joining the Mets. 2-2 from Steckenrider, and that's upstairs. 3-2. Ahmed Rosario would be next. Three-two coming. And it's fouled away. Steckenrider's just sticking with his fastball. Why not? He's got back-to-back strikeouts to start the 9th. 3-2 to Jackson. And he got him looking, side retired. Threw him a cutter on 3-2. Steckenrider strikes out the side on the top of the 9th. We go to the bottom of the 9th, tied at 3. tie game.
Well, last outing for Tyler, 2 strong innings against Cincinnati. Hard thrower. I like his stuff. Mickey Callaway likes him a lot too.
Mickey had Gesellman up in the bullpen. I guess he was saving him for a potential save opportunity had the Mets scored. But it's Bachelor who will pitch here in a 3-3 game. Top of the batting order for Miami: Ortega, Realmuto, and Castro. Game has been tied since the 5th when Realmuto got the go-ahead hit, the tying hit against Corey Oswalt. Mets bullpen has thrown 2 more scoreless innings tonight. Ortega 1 for 3 and a walk in his 2nd game with the Marlins, and he takes a fastball high from Bachelor. 10th big league game for Bachelor, who came directly from Double-A to the majors. Ortega swings through the fastball 1-1. When we're done here on Pix 11, it's the Pix 11 News, and of course on SNY, as after every game, it's WB Mason post-game live.
Is that the 2nd time you mentioned that?
Just want to make sure everybody remembers to flip the dial, if they so desire, over to SNY. Anytime there's a Mets game, there's a WB Mason post-game live on SNY. 2-1 from Bachelor, and Ortega fouls back the fastball. 2-2. Bobby Wall worked a scoreless inning, allowed a hit and a walk. Paul Sewald had even further trouble in the 8th, gave up 2 hits and a walk, but was able to get the key outs. And now Bachelor trying to get this game to extra innings. Realmuto on deck, and then Castro. 2-2 to Ortega. He misses, ball 3. Bachelor has walked 9 in 14 2/3 big league innings. Ortega flies one to shallow left. In comes Conforto to call. 1 out. So a big first out for Bachelor as he gets Ortega on the fly ball. And now Realmuto, who drove in the tying run with a 2-out hit in the 5th. He's also drawn a walk, 1 for 3 on the night. Trying to fight his way out of a batting slump. A hit last night, a hit tonight. Hit a day like an apple a day. Bachelor gets ahead of him with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Drew Rucinski, who pitched last night, is up in the Marlins bullpen. Slider off the plate to Realmuto, 2-1. And the fastball misses, and now Bachelor behind 3-1.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Home plate umpire Ed Hickok is not a low ball umpire. There are a couple pitches that are borderline that the pitcher does not get the call.
3-1 coming, and Realmuto swings through the fastball. 3-2. Bachelor, like so many of these young hard-throwing pitchers, if he can only refine a breaking ball, he's got swing and miss stuff. 3-2 to Realmuto. And he fouls back the fastball to stay alive. Starlin Castro waiting on deck. Again, the 3-2. And a high fly ball to center. And Nimmo's right there waiting for it. 2 out. So 2 up, 2 set aside on fly balls. And now Castro. Castro's 1 for 4. Last time up, he came up with 2 out and 2 on in the 7th. And Bobby Wall struck him out on a high hanging curveball. Now facing Bachelor with 2 out in the bottom of the 9th. And Castro grounds one right at Rosario. He picks it clean. And we're going to extra innings in Miami. Strong inning for Bachelor. He sets him down 1-2-3. It's 3-3 after 9. The Kia America's Best Value Summer Event. By Bob's, everything's better with a Bobopedic. Find out why at mybobs.com. By your local Chevy dealers, visit ChevyOffers.com. By Altice One from Optimum. By the New York Lottery, play the newest scratch-off games from the New York Lottery. Win anywhere, win anytime. And by your tri-state area Land Rover retailers, Land Rover above and beyond. Tie game as we go to the 10th. Two teams that have not fared very well overall this year have done okay in extra innings. Mets are 6-6. The Marlins are 6-4 in extra innings. And Drew Rosinski will pitch the 10th inning for Miami.
Well, Rosinski went 2/3 of an inning last night. Gave up a hit. Came in relief of Urania in that sixth inning.
He was pretty lucky. He hit Plawecki with a pitch and then gave up a 2-out hit to Rosario that played at 2 runs, and Plawecki was thrown out trying to go to third. Otherwise the inning would have continued. So he gave up a couple of inherited runners, and he'll face Rosario, who had the hit against him, leading off in the 10th. Rosinski just back from a stint on the disabled list last night and now pitching back-to-back days. Rosario 1 for 4 tonight. He doubled back in the 3rd. Mets have had just 5 hits through the first 9 innings. And first pitch swinging, he fouls one back. 0-1. Rosinski, the 7th Miami pitcher of the night. Miami bullpen has gone 4 1/3, allowing no runs and 1 hit. Capped by Steckenrider, who struck out the side in the 9th. McNeil on deck, Flores to follow after Rosario starts the 10th. And Ahmed fouls one that barely missed, clipping Jeff McNeil in the on deck circle. That was close. McNeil didn't even have time to flinch. And Rosario fouls off the cutter. Diamondbacks have taken the lead on the Reds 3-2 in the 8th. It's turned into a wild race out west. Diamondbacks and Dodgers tied for the lead in the West going into the night. Dodgers up 2-0 on the Rockies in the 7th. Walker Buehler working on a shutout at Coors Field. 1-2 to Rosario. Dodgers, though, are going to have to go for the next period of time without their wonderful closer, Kenley Jansen, diagnosed with an irregular heartbeat. And they're saying they're going to have to observe him for about a month before they can think about bringing him back. 1-2 coming, and that's taken high. Interestingly enough, they say Jansen's had 4 episodes of that, and twice it's happened in Denver, which is not exactly surprising. You're going to have something like that it would present itself at the higher altitude. 2-2 to Rosario, and the cutter line foul. Brewers beat the Braves tonight 4-2 the final. They got 3 in the 8th to win that game. So the Phillies have a chance to regain sole possession of first place. Phillies are up 3-0 in San Diego in the 4th with Aaron Nola on the mound. 2-2 coming, and Rosario drives one to right center, but Sierra ranges over, and that's the first down. Mets have not had a hit since the 6th inning. Jose Bautista singled with 1 out in the 6th. And the Mets have had 11 of 12 retired since. Here's McNeil. He's hit a couple of balls hard tonight. Rojas made a great play on him in the 1st inning. McNeil lined one to left field that was caught his last time up. 0 for 4 tonight, 1 for 9 in the series. And Gesellman up again in the Mets bullpen. Now he got up in the last inning, but they didn't bring him in because the Mets didn't take the lead. See if they intend to bring him in no matter what in this 10th inning, or if they leave Bachelor out there for a 2nd inning. Bachelor with a 1-2-3 ninth through just 14 pitches. It's interesting that Mickey Callaway, who has, especially since Familia was traded, gone to a system where anybody can pitch in any role late in games, seems to be saving Gesellman to be his closer in this game. More of a traditional way of managing your bullpen. It's taken high, 2 balls and a strike.
Well, he's got a lot of young arms that he's going to look at in different situations, Gare. And he's kind of eased them in, these young bullpen guys that come up and throw hard.
McNeil skies one to left, and Ortega drifting toward the line. Reels it in for the 2nd out. So 2 up, 2 fly balls, 2 out. Everybody trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
It's a big ballpark, trying to do that to the opposite field.
We saw that with the Marlins in the 9th. And we're seeing it with the Mets in the 10th. Here's Flores, 1 for 3. Doubled and scored a run back in the 4th. He knows all about hitting late inning home runs. Usually it's at home, though.
Yes.
You can't have the walk-off on the road. And Wilmer's had more walk-offs than any Met in history. But he can at least get a walk ahead.
Well, a game winner.
Right. You don't get the bubble gum and the Gatorade thrown at you when you hit one on the road to give your team the lead.
That's perfectly fine.
But you know, it still counts the same. But he's down in the count 0-2. Prado practically on the line at 3rd base against him. And Wilmer takes changeup inside, 1-2. For Rucinski, who had some big league time in Anaheim and Minnesota before this season, getting his first real test in the big leagues. His 15th outing. 1-2 coming. And that's lofted to left field. A long run for Sierra. He won't get there. It lands for a base hit. Wilmer's got a chance for 2. Ortega will not make a throw, and Wilmer walks into second base with his second double of the night. Just a little pop fly. And with Sierra playing very deep, Wilmer dumps one in there.
Off-speed pitch, let go with one hand, Gare, and just kind of placed it out there and down the left field line.
Now you'd love to be able to run for Wilmer. You got Reyes on the bench. You could put Reyes in to run and then move Frazier to first base.
By the same token, you've got a big ballpark.
They're going to walk Conforto intentionally and pitch to Nimmo instead. So Conforto on base for the 4th time tonight. I think I'd be tempted to put Reyes in there. We've seen Wilmer thrown out at the plate or get into collisions at the plate too often in these circumstances.
No matter what happens, if you're the base runners, Conforto, and you're the hitter, you get a base hit here, you take the extra base and try to draw the cutoff throw.
Nimmo's 0 for 3 and a walk tonight. And he goes after a first pitch cutter, 0-1. Nimmo came up with a man on in the 8th and hit a bullet that appeared headed toward the middle, but Castro made a brilliant backhand pickup and turned it into a double play. So a frustrating series so far for Nimmo, 0 for 8 in the 2 games, but a chance to relieve a lot of the frustration right now. 2 on and 2 out, 10th inning. And Brandon fouls back the fastball, and it's 0-2. Well, Flores was down in the count, and he dumped that double into left. Now Nimmo down in the count, 0-2. And Nimmo skies one foul. That'll go out of play. Rusinski retired the first 2 hitters, but a double and an intentional walk, giving the Mets a 2-out chance. Frazier on deck, or closer.
I would make him get back in the on-deck circle.
Change up away, 1-2. Flores carrying the go-ahead run at second. Conforto at first with 2 down. And Nimmo takes just inside, a cutter from Rusinski, 2-2.
I thought it missed.
Pitchcast agrees. Two on, 2 out, 2-2 to Nimmo. He fouls off the fastball. Won't do it again. Again, the 2-2. Pulled, foul. See, they got lefties on both lines, Keith.
Yes, they do tonight.
And this lefty made a nice grab.
Okay, let's see if Rucinski wants to throw his little changeup here. After a couple fastballs upstairs in a row, now a cutter in.
Not sure he can control that changeup.
If he misses, it's 3-2. That would put Wilmer in motion. That would be a good thing.
This will be the 8th pitch of the at bat from Rucinski to Nimmo. He fouls away a fastball. And the battle continues. Pitch number 9 to number 9. And he taps one right back to Rucinski. And that retires the side. Let's get a couple of men aboard, but strand 2. Right now, let's get an update from the Pix 11 News. Popcorn bucket, but you know, anything could be a hat.
Long gone.
Hope the popcorn was good. Mets have used 4 pitchers tonight after Corey Oswalt started. 3 scoreless innings out of the bullpen. The Marlins have already used 7 pitchers in this game. And Tyler Batchelor is going to work a 2nd inning as we go to the bottom of the 10th. Brian Anderson will lead off for Miami. Batchelor worked a 1-2-3 ninth. Anderson 1 for 4, led off the 8th inning with a base hit against Paul Sewald, and a check swing foul, 0-1. Marlins had their best chance in the 8th. They had the bases loaded and 1 out against Sewald, who struck out Sierra and got pinch hitter Isaac Galloway on a liner to center. That's 3 runs, 6 hits. The Marlins 3 runs and 9 hits. Anderson, then Dietrich and Prado in the 10th. And the slider to the backstop, 1-1. Batchelor went 2 innings in his last outing. That was against the Reds in that rain-delayed game Tuesday night. Had to work around a bit of trouble, but wound up throwing 2 scoreless. And unable to throw that breaking ball for a strike. It's 2-1. Batchelor has actually gone more than 2 innings on a couple of occasions in his brief big league career. Went 2 2/3 against the Marlins in his 2nd major league outing back in June. And Anderson pops one up in foul ground as Arauco gives it a look, but that'll be back in the crowd. And it's 2-2.
Never seen a hitter hit his bat on the ground like he just did. I thought he popped it up on the infield. Look at this reaction.
Maybe he thought so too. Yeah, he didn't know where the ball was. I think he fooled Mesoraco for a moment too.
I mean, I looked on the field to see if there was a pop-up on the infield.
2-2 coming, and he drills one to left, but right at Conforto for the first out. A bullet off the bat of Anderson. But he's retired for the first out of the bottom of the 10th. Yeah, nice exhale from Tyler Bachelor after that hard hit ball results in an out. Now Derek Dietrich, who's 1 for 4, hit a double in the 4th and scored a run. Mets had a 3-0 lead in this game, but the Marlins got 2 in the 4th after the Mets failed to execute a double play, and then they tied it with the run in the 5th, and we've been tied ever since. And the first pitch slider, he went around on the half swing, 0-1. What was the year the Mets and Marlins had those 2 long games? I think we had an 18-inning game here and a 20-inning game in New York.
I forget.
Might have been the same season. I think Sean Markham was on the mound in extra innings for both of those games. And another half swing, and Dietrich went around, and quickly it's 0-2. Maybe we're headed toward another one of those. Javi Guerra gets up in the Miami bullpen. Don Mattingly is quickly starting to run out of relief pitchers.
Yes, he is.
He's already used 6 of them tonight.
And so he's of the school of Bobby Cox and Tony La Russa, only 1 inning at a time.
Still has Guerra and Brett Graves left in the bullpen.
He's only got 1 man left on his bench too.
That would be his backup catcher, Brian Holiday. And there are Graves and Guerra. So the rest of Don Mattingly's bullpen all arrayed for your inspection. 0-2 to Dietrich, and he struck him out. Dietrich not liking the breaking stuff from Bachelor. First strikeout for Tyler. He's retired 5 in a row.
Swung at 3 bad sliders in the dirt.
Now Martin Prado is at a good night. He's driven in 2 runs. He's got 2 hits. He's also been hit by a pitch. 2 for 3. Batting here with 2 out and nobody on in the 10th. And Prado lifts one to right. Bautista is there. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Tyler Bachelor. 6 up and 6 down. On to the 11th, tied at 3.
Don Mattingly has now gone to yet another relief pitcher, Javi Guerra, who pitched last night and got hit pretty hard here. Gave up 3 hits and 2 runs in the Mets' 8th inning. The 7th relief pitcher used by Don Mattingly. And there you have it.
Almost not enough room on the screen. So Avi Guerra becomes the 8th Marlins pitcher of the night.
I've gone through all of my line of markers, Guerra. I'm back to square one with the yellow marker.
Is that okay?
Oh, it's fine. Very rarely happens.
Well, wait till we see a couple of position players pitch in this game. Do you have special colors for them?
Well,
Todd Frazier leads off in the 11th inning.
Well, you can see my yellow, then my blue is the second pitcher, the red, the green, the orange, the purple, now back to the yellow. That's a lot of pitchers.
Glad I didn't miss it.
I feel like it's like Disraeli Gears album.
Frazier takes one just off the plate from Guerra. 2-1. Jose Bautista on deck, then Devin Mesoraco, all right-hand hitters up in the 11th inning. 3 infielders on the left side against Todd. He drove in all 3 Met runs with a double in the 4th inning. Mets have been limited just 3 hits since then.
I think Todd's overdue to get a home run, don't you think? Tie into one, catch, run into one.
Flies one toward left center, not very deep. In comes Sierra with Ortega, and it's Sierra to make the catch. 1 out. Not that time. Now Bautista, who had a base hit back in the 6th inning. 1 for 4 on the night. He hasn't hit a home run in a while.
He's due too, Gary. I agree. He's due to run into one.
What you're saying is that somebody is due to run into one. Bautista's last home run came July 25th against Clayton Richard of San Diego. The Mets are going on their 4th straight game without a home run. But Bautista hits one deep to left center. Back goes Sierra. He's got room on the warning track to make the catch. Big ballpark. Sierra hit. Bautista hit it well, but not well enough to get it out to the home run sculpture. 2 out. We mentioned this earlier. The last time the Mets went 4 straight games without hitting a home run, you got to go back to before the trading deadline in 2015, before they got Cespedes. Last time they went 4 straight games without a home run.
Well, like I said, they're overdue.
Right. Well, here's Mesoraco. He takes a strike. Luis Guillorme is out on deck to pinch hit if Mesoraco keeps the inning going. Question is, if Mesoraco makes the 3rd out, is Bachelor going to go out there for a 3rd inning of work? I would say why not? He's only thrown 24 pitches and looked awfully good doing it. Mesoraco pops one up. Who wants it? It's going to be Rojas. Side retired. 1, 2, 3 go the Mets in the top of the 11th. deeper into their bullpen and call on Jacob Rame to pitch in the bottom of the 11th.
Well, Jacob Rame is another one that has been on that Las Vegas, New York, Las Vegas merry-go-round. That's a big orbit of the sun, I'll tell you that.
Well, if it's a merry-go-round, yes, because, you know, in order to go around from Vegas, you'd have to go up over the Arctic Circle to come down into New York. And then swing back down toward the Panama Canal at least to come back up the other way.
Well, he comes on and he is the Mets' fifth pitcher, fourth reliever. The Mets on another roll here from the bullpen. Another scoreless, 4 innings of scoreless ball.
Tyler Bachelor 6 up and 6 down, and now Rame takes over to face the lower third of the Marlins batting order. No double switch, so the Mets pitcher spot would be due to lead off in the 12th. The go Rojas is 0 for 3 and a walk, and he takes a fastball away from Rame for ball 1. Magneuris, Sierra on deck. Then the pitcher spot automatically has just one hitter left in his dugout. That's his backup catcher Brian Holiday, who has a bat in his hands. And slider in for a strike to Rojas, 1-1. It has not been an easy go for Rame at the big league level. 7.65 ERA, and he's given up 7 home runs in 20 innings. This one's lined to right center, a base hit for Rojas to start the bottom of the 11th. Rojas takes a hard turn, but he'll hold with a leadoff single. So there's the first hit in extra innings for the Marlins, and they got the winning run at first with nobody out.
Well, I tell you what, the way Sierra, well, you only got one guy off the bench now for Mattingly, and the pitcher spot, it would have to be his last man on the bench would be Brian Holiday.
And Holiday's out on deck. You have to bunt with Sierra.
Yes, you do. No doubt.
First of all, he hasn't shown, you know, much hitting prowess. Second of all, he might be able to beat it out if he bunts well enough. And he does bunt. Flores will have to go to first with it. So the sacrifice is successful and moves the potential winning run down to second. So now Holiday will be the pinch hitter. Marlins backup catcher, not much of a hitter. He's 2 for 7 though as a pinch hitter. Hitting 175 for the year. Rojas at second with 1 out. And a strike called to Holiday. Sinker misses, a ball and a strike. Rafael Ortega, left-hand batter on deck. And Holiday pulls one over the bag, fair ball, and the Marlins will win the ball game. Rojas around third comes in to score. Brian Holiday with the walk-off pinch hit. And the Marlins win it in 11, 4-3. A pinch hit RBI double for Brian Holiday ends this game. After the Mets bullpen have thrown 4 scoreless innings, the Marlins quickly take it to Jacob Rame in the 11th, and Holiday delivers the walk-off hit.
Slider hanging and just barely fair. That just inside the bag.
Rojas home with the winning run, and the Marlins even up this series at a game apiece. So the Marlins win it 4-3. The game summary brought to you by Mazda. Feel alive. Corey Oswalt, another quality start. Mets got 4 good innings out of their bullpen, but it took just 7 pitches for the Marlins to get the winning run home in the bottom of the 11th. Brian Holiday with the walk-off hit for Miami as they win it 4-3. Final game of the series tomorrow. Noah Syndergaard for the Mets. Wei-Yin Chen goes for the Marlins. Our coverage begins at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon right here on Pix 11. Coming up next on Pix 11, it's the Pix 11 News, and on SNY it's WB Mason post-game live. Now for Keith Hernandez, Steve Gelbs, and our entire crew, I'm Gary Cohen in Miami. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon right back here on Pix 11.